Hello and welcome to episode number 365 of the Board Game BBQ Podcast, brought to you by Avid Games, More Than Meeples, and our excellent, delightful Patreons. Hi everyone, I'm Joe. I am your host for this episode. I've wrested the control from Connor, who's been hosting like a champ the last few episodes. Thank you so much, Connor. And today we have our special PlayCon focused episode now that PlayCon is behind us. And we have all the hosts of the podcast here. Hello.
Let's all make noise at once.
Hello.
Hello, Jules, Connor, Dana. How are you guys?
All at once. We're really good. No, you're supposed to all at once
doing
with
well.
me.
I'm okay, I suppose.
Dana, stop being a party pooper, bro. Come on.
Maybe this will cheer you up, Dana. This is another special episode because if we have a super fan out there that wants Board Game BBQ every day of their lives for a whole year, they now have an episode for every day of the year.
Amazing.
Oh, that's beautiful, Jules.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Let's see if someone's brave enough to do that.
You did not come up with that. You did not come up with that. That was Kieran.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, let's see if someone's brave enough to do that TikTok challenge.
Please don't. Please don't. Some of those first
Show them in a
episodes.
straight jacket.
Yeah. Some of those first episodes are rough. Rough listening.
All right, so we're about to talk about some games. We're going to talk about PlayCon in general. First off, how are you guys feeling? Have you recovered from the exhaustion of the post-PlayCon experience?
I do feel recovered. On the Monday morning, we all caught up for breakfast, and after that, drove straight home, pulled the luggage with the clothes and other bits and pieces out of the car, and promptly went straight back to bed and slept for another couple of hours.
Yeah. It was a really bizarre experience for me because I think in terms of a journey, I've had the longest journey out of everyone, but I think this year I had the shortest. I think it's definitely shorter than yours, Jules. Because
it was like an hour to drive home.
Yeah. I think it took me probably like 45 minutes to get home, which is amazing. So yeah, I was pretty much the same, Jules. It's funny, like we're like, oh, we were so tired. Like it was awesome. It was an incredible experience, right? Like so much fun. But I was very much the same, where bought my luggage in and kicked my shoes off, and then just sat on the couch and watched, I don't know, something. I think I started watching Silo on Apple TV. And it was just pure binge energy.
I was foolish enough to put some lost property in my suitcase.
Oh.
And I took it home with me, and then I got pulled up by the security at the airport in Sydney, and I got taken into a back room.
Oh, what?
Like through a really narrow hallways, weaving through hallways into a back room, right to the guy that was scanning the bags, and he was pointing to this big screen. He said, right there, that is a power bank. And I said, I don't have a power bank. I don't know what you're talking about. And we couldn't find it. Lo and behold, it's in the lost property that I took home with me, that someone's power bank was there. And it was, oh my God. And my reputation was,
you've been. And
they said, you're going to have to pay for this. Did you sign that form to say that you did not have any dangerous goods? And I said, yes, but I didn't know it was in there. You have to check everything. So, yeah. It was
Wow.
It was a big drama.
Did you end up getting your luggage?
Oh, yeah, they lost my bag too.
Oh, God.
What?
I got it a couple of days later, which is good.
There you go.
It can only happen to banana. Yeah.
It really can. Like when you were typing that, I was like, it would literally never happen to anyone else. It could only happen to you.
Yeah, I'm going to reveal something. I often just leave electronics and stuff in my check-in and go, oh, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Even though it's not supposed to be there, it's fine. I didn't realize they actually scan the luggage. So I'm going to change my behavior from now on.
Yeah, please do. And it's very thorough. They literally go through it and magnify it and say that is a power bank.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've gone through with a fork before.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I call Boulder Dash on this. I was like, nah.
The funniest thing I had in my carry-on, I had a roll of tape after working an event, and they're like, you can't have that. I'm like, tape? And they're like, yeah, you could tie someone up with that.
Oh, true.
I'm like, Oh, yeah.
That's true.
If you have like a big roll of packing tape, they don't let you. But if it's like a small, like,
okay,
the small one,
like wrapping a present.
That won't matter. But I was like, okay. Well, I was like, you can chuck it out. I don't care. It's just
okay, what about cable ties?
Probably not cable ties either. But yeah, anything that could be used to tie someone up, you can't have in your carry-on.
I'd be worried if I had checked down his luggage, she had a power bank, cable ties, and industrial tape.
A muffle.
Yeah.
A dog muzzle, a collar.
That's right.
Anyway, that's enough of that. How about, so we'll get to games in a second, but overall, what did you guys think of PlayCon? What were your highlights? I guess I'll just start. Dana and I walked into the hall together the first morning when we were setting up, and we were both like, oh my God, this hall is so big. This is crazy compared to, a much smaller affair that the last two PlayCons were.
We did.
It was very intimidating walking into that space.
It was very daunting. It was huge.
Yeah.
And even the front desk, as they showed us the front desk, I said to the event manager, I said, we had a trestle table last time.
That's right.
And now we have a panic button.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that what the actual closet was for? Is that the panic room? Do you have to hit the panic button to go into the...
No, it's a storage. But we did actually we found out about the panic button because we set it off by accident.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Conversely, because I arrived later and we had lots of great help from people who were volunteering, people who were friends who just wanted to help out on the day, you guys setting up the tables. I came in and I actually couldn't believe what I was looking at. Like, it's the same thing compared to being at the previous venue, just how everything was set up. The vendors looked super official because they had the banners. If you've been to PAX or any of the other events that other board game companies or sites host, you'd be really familiar with those. I was just blown away by the size, by how official it all looked going in. And my first thought was, I think people are going to be absolutely wowed. And I think that was the general consensus, was people were really, really impressed, which is nice,
Yeah. Well done, Jules. You designed that room.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, for me, that was just another day at the office.
For me, it was just Tuesday. Yeah.
The modest hero.
Yeah, modest.
Honestly, you're like delivering like a more contained experience at those sorts of conventions. We were putting on the whole convention. That was...
Yeah, well, I have worked on putting whole activities together before. In my day job, worked on Command Fest that was held in Melbourne last year. So the floor plan and making sure everything gets set up. So look, this felt like bread and butter to me, and we'd done a lot of planning and work to get this event all organized. And look, like Connor said, we had some amazing volunteers and friends and family that came to help us set up on the day, and we absolutely could not have done it all without them. So thank you to all of those who came along on the Thursday to help us set up. It was a tremendous help. Many, many hands made light work that day, for sure.
Probably the biggest activity was the library. That putting those...
Yep.
Like the amount of work that went into that library was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got pictures of volunteers just sitting on top of pallets, and there's just crap everywhere. And that was a really big job. That was great. Wow.
Speaking of the library, I think that was really well run, and we have one of our really good friends who did a massive job for us in Megs, who's been if you're from Sydney, you would know Megs from our Board Game BBQ days. She's been a volunteer there for many game days, but she was helping us and helping to run the library. And man, that was, not only was it, there were so many great games in there, it was always busy. The volunteers who were on there were super informative. People were coming through. Yeah, it was awesome.
It was a hub, wasn't it? It was really where the vibe came from. And it spread out throughout the whole convention. It was infectious. It was great.
Jules, if we have people listening who've never made it to a PlayCon, do you want to just kind of like to give a vibe or a run through about what it was like, what it looked like?
Sure. If you haven't listened to the podcast much before, or this happens to be your first episode, PlayCon's a board gaming convention which we run. It was held at the ICC, so the International Convention Centre in Sydney. And so it's a big convention hall. If you've ever been to a convention hall in another city, it probably feels and looks the same. Super tall ceilings, concrete floor, large space. And for the size of the event that we did, we have some statistics. I don't know if we have them on hand to share in the episode, but there are over 1,000 people a day that came through the 3-day convention that we did. Most of the hall was taken up sort of with tables and chairs in free play space. So if you brought your own games or wanted to bring games or borrow games from the library, I should say, you had tons of space to set up and have some fun on the tables. There were giant versions of board games. We had a giant Lego Catan and novelty versions of Code Names and Harmonies and many other games that were just set up permanently for people to enjoy. Then we had exhibitors like local designers showing their products, board game stores showing off their fancy new wares. There were other companies like Chaosium and Null Signal showing their RPGs and the Netrunner game. Then there were event areas where there was speed puzzling and cork tournaments and other big group games. There was heaps and heaps of stuff going on, as well as two of Australia's largest distributors, Asmodee and Let's Play Games, showing off heaps of new board games as well. So it's just a hall full of fun. Heaps of board gaming, heaps of RPGs, heaps of activities going on. And I think one of the things we probably don't call out enough in what we're doing differently, a lot of conventions, especially the ones I go to, most of them end at about 5 or 6 o'clock. We were going to midnight on the Friday and Saturday, and then obviously Sunday had to end it earlier to pack up. But it's a lot of hours of entertainment offered. There were thousands of games scheduled on Aftergame, which is the app we partner with to help sort of power the whole convention for people to organize their gaming time, to coordinate with one another when they're going to be at certain tables or joining certain activities. And yeah, it was quite a sight to behold. It's a massive step up from what we've done the past 2 years in terms of scale, of not only the space, but attendees, activities on offer, volunteers required, just everything an order of magnitude larger. And I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, I was so impressed with what we had been able to achieve. There's a bit of, people probably know, there was a bit of stress on the back end leading up to the event just because it was just the 4 of us eventually once Adrian and Lauren had left. So yeah, there was a lot of stress leading into it, but actually we pulled it off, and I think the event was amazing. I think we might go around and just talk about some of our favorite things from the event as well. For me, I think we were very conscious in upgrading the event to make sure we don't lose that friendliness in the community and the people who are attending, and we don't lose that kind of special touch that I think we as the Board Game Barbecue bring to our events. And I think we were very successful in that way. One of my favorite things to do at PlayCon and at game days, but especially at PlayCon, is just to walk around the hall and see what people are playing and then like talk to them. And I was able to still do that. Everyone was so friendly and lovely. I'd be like, oh, you guys have been playing T-Witches heaps. There was a couple that was like roping people in to play T-Witches. I saw them play it like 4 or 5 times, I think.
Oh, wow.
So that was really nice to see and to have that connection with them for that particular thing. So I just loved that kind of aspect of the con. Everyone was lovely and friendly, had a chat to many people that I'd never met before, and make new board game friends. So that was really awesome. What about you guys?
I was lucky enough to be at the forefront of a couple of big ticket items because I was up in the events room. We had a bit of an issue because we had the event space and the events room, and we had a few people going, look, so for those who are able to get to the talks, they were amazing. So on the Friday morning, we had Cole Wherle give a presentation, and that room was chockers. Like, it was standing room only. Like, so many people want to listen to him. I think because he has so many fans who are like rabid fans. You know, they are just huge fans of his work. Whatever he brings out, they're big fans of it. Joe's pointing to himself being a Root fanboy, you know, and went through. And of course, so Cole's been on the show once or twice, and he is a university. He lectures at universities and as a academic. So he's very well spoken. He honestly, and he said this, he would have talked for hours and hours and hours if he could. He was doing box signings and book signings of sort of like Pax Pamir, Oath, Root, Arcs, and each person that came up, he would like have a mini conversation with them. He was just so I guess engaging with the public. It was great, and then being able to see him go and play games with people. Is it Infamous Traffic was the game he was demoing as well, so they were able to see that. That was fantastic. We had a stalwart, a constant in our PlayCon, Andrew, Ian O'Toole, who had a chat with Andrew Bosley, which was great. So they sort of riffed and were talking about world building, which is something that I'm interested in as a big fantasy fan, and loving world building in my games. It was great to listen to that and the methods that they go through. And then we had Shem Phillips on the Sunday, and that was a great chat because what he did is he almost invited people to come in and then just have a little conversation. And I was saying, I think in terms of picking people's brains, that was the best one, because people actually, I've got a question, we're not able to answer that. Whereas with some of these other talks, there's so many questions coming out that you don't always get answered. So being in that events room was awesome. The trivia, we may or may not have done something naughty and asked for forgiveness rather than permission with the number of people we got into trivia. But yeah, that was great fun. And then there was always some sort of event going on, whether that was the concert games of Two Rooms and a Boom run by Avery and Jules. We also had Blood in the Clock Tower going on. Those games were always full. There was never like empty space when there's Blood in the Clock Tower games. People wanting to borrow one or find one and then play it themselves. And then we had Dana ran the big game of Welcome To, which how did that go, Dana? Do you remember who won that one?
To be honest, I can't actually remember who. It escapes me. I wasn't expecting you to ask me that. But I think it went well. Actually, we had a great look. To be honest, is that all right if I segue to what I thought?
Of course, it is. No, I'm not done. No, of course it is.
Because I'm the volunteer mum, and those people were so wonderful. I really couldn't have asked for anything more. And we had some people that really just stood out, in terms of what they did to help. And just to mention a few, Ruben was absolutely fantastic and really helped us out with a lot of our audiovisual things. So, for example, he set up a camera for Welcome To so that I could flip the cards over and it would come up on a screen so everybody could see it in the game. He also helped out Andrew Bosley, who left his iPad cable at home and was able to fix him up for his little intimate chat. And he was just brilliant. And there were people that came, because I was in charge of the front desk as well. There were people that volunteered at the front desk that weren't even volunteers. Like there was someone called Stuart, who I know from Brisbane, who stayed in the mornings just to help out, and he wasn't even volunteering at all. It was just so wonderful. We had a fellow called Jason Conlon, who we've been talking about today on Discord, Jules, who ran games non-stop, like almost without a break. And one of our volunteer leaders, Haig, came up to me at the end of the convention and said, that guy is a workhorse, unbelievable. He was so impressed. And one of his games, as Jules mentioned to me today, had 26 people. It was, what was it again? It was Arkham.
It was a big Arkham horror mega campaign.
Yeah. Unbelievable. 26
Amazing.
is so many people
That's
play
amazing.
Arkham, and he somehow managed it. So shout out Chase. Yeah, he was an absolute weapon. He just continued to play games, didn't have a break. So thank you, Jason. And it was a unique experience for people too. You know, they're games that I'm a big fan of. I know Joe's a fan of Marvel Champions. So these living card games that people want to experience, that people come up and asking, well, what does this mean? I would point them to Jason, like this guy is running them all weekend. Go see if you can line up and jump into the game, because he just did not stop.
I was just so impressed with how much people were happy to give to us for no real value other than just the joy of giving to our event and making our event better. And I was so impressed, and I'm so grateful to all the volunteers. They were absolutely fantastic. And of course, I'm just going to mention a couple of funny moments. One of them, of course, was I had plans. I wanted to make it special. I was going to do my wingspan teach with cheese platter, which came on time. It was beautiful. It came on a little cart, and I wheeled my little cheese platter out there. And I had planned to wear a costume, and I didn't tell any of you guys because you would have told me not to, surely, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't have said not to. I just would have just done my usual, like, whatever. Like, okay. Like,
you do you, boo.
Your funeral, like that type of thing.
Won't yucky
Yeah, exactly right.
Anyway, I tell you what, it was a bit of a disaster. Dana story again, like, honestly. I put the costume on and realised the batteries require like a screwdriver. So Ruben, who I just mentioned before, let me see if I can find a screwdriver. One of the volunteers is trying to get my shoes off. I was running late for the game, and we're all trying to get me dressed in this stupid costume. Anyway, I finally come out, and I'm sweating. Like, it's like sweat is just dripping down me. But I've got this video. Someone must have taken a video of me walking out, and everybody's just turning around and laughing at this costume. And I go up to the table and I just say, "Welcome to Wingspan," and everybody just goes, "Oh my God."
It was so good, Dana. It was so good, Dana. It really added a flair to that day. It was really nice.
And Think a Thema sent me a message, and they said, "We tried to say goodbye to you, but apparently you were a flamingo." So but the funniest moment is I was being a flamingo teaching the game, and one of the people that we had checked in, and they had been to PlayCon all 3 years now, came up to me, and she's Russian. I believe her last name is Fedorov, but I'm not sure of her first name, because when I checked her in at the front desk, her name was actually Bear. Like, there was no last name. It was literally checked in as the name Bear.
Like Madonna.
Yes, pretty much. Yep. Anyway, and she came up to me, and she, in her like thick Russian accent, no smile, no nothing, and she said, "I love your costume." And she said, "I love bears. I've got a bear costume in the car. Would you like me to go and get it?"
It's amazing.
And I just went, "Why would you have a bear costume in your car?"
The same reason you had a flamingo costume, Dana. Like, why are you asking these questions?
And she said, and all she said was, "Give me 10 minutes." She walked off. And I was telling the people at the table, and I thought, is she insane?
She says, in a flamingo outfit. What are you understand? Where's the sense of like introspection?
Anyway, she comes 10 minutes later, lo and behold, comes in this inflatable bear costume that she obviously had in her car. And I've got this photo actually from Jason Conlon of the two of us meeting, and it's like these two unique species have just met for the first time, talking to each other, this flamingo and this bear. And she said, and I remember she said, "My children hate it when I do this." It was just so funny. It was just brilliant. And I hear that she sort of went over to where the sponsors wall was, and all the security guards were taking photos with kids because they wanted to be
cute.
They wanted to be near the polar bear, and it was just so good. It was really great.
We should have had her teach Barron Park.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
That
god!
would have been funny as.
That would have been
so
so
good.
funny. And then I
That's
had a
so
guy
good.
as well coming up to me while I was teaching Wingspan, wanting to know, how do we get our game into Designer Alley? You know, what are the criteria? And I'm here talking with this giant beak, you know, coming down in front of me, and I feel so stupid. And I'm going through the sort of the criteria, and I just said, I'm sorry, but I feel really stupid talking to you about this in a flamingo costume. And I said, can you go and talk to Joe?
Yeah, they came and found me.
But anyway, that was just a funny moment that we had. So, yeah.
Love. How about you, Jules? Highlights?
Oh man, there were so many. Honestly, just seeing so many helpful, happy, willing volunteers was just so heartwarming the entire weekend. Even if they gave half a day or they were there all 3 days, it really added to the atmosphere and had so many comments from attendees saying the volunteers are amazing. So everyone noticed it, everyone felt it, which was really cool. I think two other special moments for me were, Connor already mentioned one, the Saturday evening discussion Andrew Bosley had on, it was sort of like an intimate chat Q&A sort of thing. And it was a really small group. There was probably 12-ish people, maybe a little bit more at one point. And most of them were artists or in their own respect already, or wanting to get more into the game industry. And just, it was amazing seeing that atmosphere and how much they were soaking up. And you could just see how happy those people were being able to have this almost one-on-one sort of atmosphere with Andrew, being able to ask questions and his experience in the industry. That was just really, really special. I really enjoyed just sort of sitting in on that discussion. And I think the other thing was just seeing so many people have huge fangirl moments talking to Cole. I was playing a game of Root with a few people, and they were like trying to find the right moment to like go and interrupt him to get a signature on a box lid. And yeah, just Cole was great. He was so gracious with his time and was happy to talk to anyone at any time. And yeah, it was really cool to be able to fly both Andrew and Cole out to the event and for people to meet them and have some great moments chatting with them and getting their games signed.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Actually, I've got a little anecdote similar to that. I was doing my kind of walk around the hall and talking to people, and I walked past a group that were playing Architects, and I was like, oh, is that your copy of Architects? They're like, yeah. It's Architects of the West Kingdom.
Yes.
They're like, oh, do you know the designer's just over there? Shem Phillips? They're like, oh my God, really? I was like, yeah, he'd probably sign it for you if you asked him. They're like, oh, really? Do you think so? I was like, yeah, come with me. I'll take you. So I took them across and was like, hey, Shem, can you sign this game for these guys? I think Sam also signed the game for them as well.
Yeah.
So it was just a really cute moment. It was just really nice to be able to kind of give that to people and have that fanboy moment and just really enjoy it. It was so cool.
I think you mentioned Sam being Sam McDonald. One thing that I think I have really loved to see is, while we did grow quite significantly this year, we still had those same connections we've had with people that have been there all the time. I mentioned Ian, who's always done a panel for us, Sam, Bobby Hill, who've been to both the PlayCons and have done talks for us. We've got people, like, I know they're our sponsors, but like, More Than Meeples and Advent Games, who have been there in attendance or had stalls, all these people who, and friends who we've met that have been there so far, have helped us grow into the PlayCon we know now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so good. I think overall, from our point of view, I think we can say it was a really successful event. We were so pleased that everyone gave us such great feedback verbally and that they loved the event. And so, watch the space for 2027. We're busy putting stuff together as we speak. But we're not a convention podcast. We are a board game podcast. So maybe we should talk some board games. What do you think?
Let's do it.
I'd like that.
All right, let's do that. Who wants to go first? Who's most excited about the games they played at PlayCon?
Dana's got heaps. Maybe Dana should go first so she can talk about some of them.
What?
Look at all your ones.
No, I didn't even play. I didn't even play Bristol. I was just going to mention it. Sorry, you're going to have to edit this bit out.
No, way. I'm leaving this in.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, Dana talked about Bristol. I was lucky enough, and I think, Joe, did you teach it as well, the Giant Bristol?
No, I didn't end up being able to.
Yeah. So, I was on to teach Giant Bristol a couple of times. And it was so funny because there were people who'd never played before, and they see this big game set up in the corner. So it's Bristol 1350. We've talked about this game ad nauseum on this podcast, but how much fun it is, the silliness. It actually comes up in one of the responses in the question of the pod later. But having it being giant-sized and having them roll those huge dice, it was amazing for people to see. And just sitting there and explaining. So I think I taught one or two games, or two or three games of it, and yeah, just having people shift and then move around and move their meeples out and push the carts around. The props that came out of the bags were just like spot on. They were so good.
Real whips. They had real whips.
Yeah. Which, I was a bit like, okay,
I carried those on the plane with me. Can you imagine if I had to open
hang
up
on a second. So you had a
whips. Power
bank, some duct tape, whips, and now you're talking about cable ties? I'm getting really worried here, Dana. But I had one. So the infamous shove out of the cart and the other person dies happened. And the group so there was one fellow in a cart and they were both healthy and their cart was in the lead. And he had effectively like run the numbers, saying in his mind, he'd run the numbers and we're like, we've mingled so many times. There's no way that all of us are healthy. I think you're sick. And he pushed her out and she was like, no, I'm healthy. And so he died of shame. And then the other carts ended up whizzing through and getting past them. So yeah, it was so much fun watching that. On a similar scale, I also, for a few games, including some games with some of our friends, Flip 7 with a Vengeance. So that was really good. So I was actually a little bit dubious about Flip 7 with a Vengeance. I'd played it once before, and I really like the original Flip 7. I think it's great. I think it hits that perfect spot of silliness without it being too complicated. But, oh my Lord, it was so funny. We have a member of, I guess, one of our Sydney groups. He is actually an old workmate of Mitch. His name's Murray. So if you've ever been to a Sydney game day, you've probably played a game with Murray. He's a lovely gentleman. He sat down and he played in all three games of my Flip 7 with a Vengeance. And in the last game, so it was the last game, pretty much the last game that we played, I was lucky enough to be in a game with our friend Tom and Manny and their kids, and one of Manny's friends, Nathan. And it was with all their kids. And Vinny, Manny's kid, he played a nasty card on Murray. And it was like a call to arms to defend Murray against Vinny. So then everyone started dogpiling on Vinny. So every nasty card went to Vinny. And it was like, nobody messes with Murray. It was like, that's it. Nobody messes with Murray. So like Murray's like had like been championed by this group of children. And of course, in true Tom fashion, he won. And Manny's like, must you win everything? Like everything. How did you win everything? It's a game of pure luck, and he still won. So yeah, I think I taught 3 games, and all of them were a lot of fun. And then especially with that larger setting and more people, the nastiness, and then you had the people who kind of knew each other and wanted to stitch each other up. So there's a couple of guys, Justin, and I've forgotten Justin's mate's name, and the same thing, and they were just playing cards on each other, and yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I would, if you've played a lot of Flip 7 and you want a little bit of a different flavor of Flip 7, then definitely give Flip 7 with a Vengeance a go.
That's awesome. I know my friend Fee, who's in my game group here in Brisbane, I asked her what her highlight was at the hotel after we'd finished, and she said it was Flip 7 with you.
Well,
she said,
so nice.
She said, "You're so funny. He's so funny, Connor."
Oh God! Don't get him too gassed up. Jeez.
What can you do?
All right, that's enough praising Connor. Jules, you played a couple games that rhyme.
Yeah, I got to play most of a game of Root. We got very close to finishing it, but it was still a heap of fun. It was a 5-player game. I ended up playing Lord of the Hundreds, which I've only done a couple of times before. And one of the new factions was in play as well as the Bats, the Twilight Council, I think they're called.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very weird, dynamic, interesting game because the Twilight Council they don't score points by destroying stuff. They score by ruling over and protecting cardboard pieces. And so
amazing.
There was this real dichotomy between me being Lord of the Hundreds, wanting to go scorched earth everywhere, and them trying to protect everyone else's stuff in order to score points. It was a fantastic game, and it was a genuinely close race to the finish. It was me or one or two other players that were probably in contention, but had a lot of fun playing that game, even though we didn't get to finish. The other game I played at the convention. I got to play the new edition of Schadenfreude. It's same as or old edition. It's just new artwork and getting a reprint. I'd actually never played it before until that first day of PlayCon. It was fantastic. Such a clever trick-taking game where
it's really good.
You want to come second, and it's just such a good little twist on the game. And yeah, absolutely loved it.
So with Schadenfreude, Jules, I remember, I think I played it last, like the PlayCon before this year, and I'd started to build like a little bit of a lead early-ish, and I was like, it'll be fine. I'm just not going to win any more tricks. And all of a sudden it was just like, nope, Connor, you're going to win all the tricks.
Yeah.
You're going to push all the way down. And I think it was Jonathan and maybe Pete Campbell were just sort of, jostling up together. And yeah, I was like, I have never won so many tricks in a trick-taking game, especially when I didn't want to win. It was just crazy.
Yeah. The other game I got to play was a game from Garfield Games that hasn't been released yet. They were showcasing it at the convention called Scoot. It's a card shedding game, and the demos they were doing weren't the full game. They were doing 3 rounds instead of 4, but it was really, really cool. So in Scoot, you're trying to get rid of cards. You've got their colors and numbers, similar to a lot of other card games out there. And you do a little bit of drafting of your hand before you start the round. And what will happen is you get 3 cards, you'll pass one left and right, and then you'll end up with these 3 cards that you use to bid on piles of cards that will form your hand. And the cards you use to bid with will go into what's called your cave, which are kind of like extra cards that you can play in order to add to the hands during the rounds, basically. You don't have to play them to get rid of your hand. They're just there as an extra help at the right moment. And what's really clever about the game is as you're going around, there's no runs in the game. You play either single card or same of a kind in terms of numbers. But what happens is, as you go around, if a pattern forms in 3 players in a row, then it locks people into following that pattern the rest of the round. So, for example, if I played the green 2 and then someone played the green 4 and someone played the green 7, that's 3 greens. We've locked into greens the whole way around. Or if someone played the 2, then the 3, then the 4, the next person would have to play a 5 and then a 6 and then a 7. So it's this interesting card shedding game where it's not just you're not just thinking about, oh, I'll play the highest card to win that round and start the next one, but is there a particular card I can play to lock people into a pattern that denies them from playing some other cards that they may want to? So yeah, there's also rules that come out each round that sort of bend the game a little bit. For example, the cards go to 12 and there's a rule that you can play a 1 afterwards to reset the number loop. So you can go round again, which is pretty cool. So it's still a work in progress. I've only played it the once. My wife Kieran played it a few times and absolutely loved the game and is very, very excited when they graciously gave a handmade copy that they brought to PlayCon to us to keep playing at home, which was really, really nice of them to give to us.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but Scoot was excellent. Such a cool card shedding game. We'll absolutely want to get a copy when they release it.
It's definitely one of my regrets not getting to play that game. I'd seen it, was like, oh, I'd really like to try it, and then was just too busy.
A lot of people were talking about Scoot.
Yeah,
lots of people were talking about it.
It's awesome.
It's actually not going to Kickstarter, I believe. It's going.
No, I think it's going straight to retail.
Yeah, straight to retail.
Oh hell yeah! Did they say when they're planning to release, or
I don't think so? But one of the details I do remember is there'll be a series of these small box card games.
That's awesome.
So it's not a one and done. They have plans for multiple.
Really cool. Cool. So that was Scoot. So it's spelled Skute.
Yes, I believe so. It's the name for a Viking longship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A Scoot.
A Scoot. Well, I might kind of. I didn't get to play a lot. I was really busy over the convention trying to make sure everything was running smoothly, which it was in the end. But I did get to play, in terms of new games, I did get to play Compile finally. So Compile has been at like the last couple of PAXs, I think.
Yeah,
I just never got to sit down and actually play any of the demos ever. And I actually own the first and second Compile mains and hadn't had a chance to play them. So finally I was like, I'm going to sit down with Lorenzo. I'm going to get someone to teach me the game so that way I know how to play it so we can play it at home from here. And yeah, really, really loved it. So if you're listening and you've never heard, I think it's been spoken about on the pod before, but if you're listening and you've never heard of Compile, the theme is essentially your two rogue AIs after this like cataclysmic event where you're trying to write a new reality essentially. In reality, the game is essentially a lane battler where you're playing cards to 3 different lanes and you're trying to wrest control of the lane essentially to then kind of activate your scoring cards. And once you've scored all 3 cards, you win the game. Man, that game is tense. And the way Lorenzo and I play each other, it is like vicious. It is really, and sometimes we'll like score the first couple of cards because we've played it since we've come home. We'll each score the first couple of cards really quickly, and then that last card is like this tug of war between the two of us, like swapping positions, trying to play cards, getting people to discard their cards. But yeah, that is a vicious, vicious game. But I really enjoyed every play that I've had of it. Lorenzo's beat me every time. No surprise there at all. Yeah, really enjoyed it. And the cards are beautiful.
Yeah,
that kind of
so
foil
good.
detail
So
on the
good.
cards. It's just like this really cool, futuristic kind of vibe to the game, and just gives it a very luxe feel to it, to a very interesting kind of mechanic. I loved it. I'm definitely keen to give it a go, and I believe they're releasing a 3rd version, Main 3, towards the end of the year. Is that right, Jules?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know the exact date, but yeah, it is coming.
Yeah, but I was very grateful for LPG to be demoing it still, even though it's been shown at a few conventions.
Yeah.
And it was actually like at like 10 p.m. that the volunteer from LPG actually taught it. So the fact there were still volunteers from LPG and Asmodee at that time was really nice to see as well.
Mm.
Connor, what about you? What did you get played?
I got to play Wombat Poo. So I never played Wombat Poo before. So if you haven't played Wombat Poo, you really should. It is a stacking game where you flip over a card and there's 3 different sizes of wombat poo. Now, if you're not from Australia, and if you are from Australia, you might not know this. Wombats actually poo cubes, so it's actually a thematic and a factual game where you're stacking these different cubes up, and you can either choose to poop or you can choose to wipe. So pooping means that you're going to flip a card over, and it's going to have either 2 small black poop cubes, a medium brown poop cube, or a large white poop cube, and you must stack them vertically on top of each other. And then you can choose or you can choose to wipe, which is where you score the number of cubes that are stacked up, and then you're out of the round. So it's a push your luck type game. It's really good. Phil Walker Harding Phil Walker Harding design, I should say. So yeah, really good fun. Played that with some of the kids. But one of the cool games that I got to play is actually a licensed game, and that is the Cuphead dice game. So this was played late Saturday, and it is a real-time dice chucker where you're trying to line up the dice to effectively beat the enemy. So if you're unaware of what Cuphead is, Cuphead's a video game that's got this old-timey art style, which is fantastic, and it's a really good game, really good video game, really hard, but it became famous because of its old school cartoony Steamboat Willie, old school Disney animation style. So it's still got that, and you have 20 seconds to roll the dice and try and effectively dodge and attack these villains. And it's a boss battle where you have different phases. Now, the first one's pretty stock standard, where it's just like, okay, match them up. The next one is almost like a memory-based game where you have to remember that you are in a plane, and that the plane going up is the jump action, the plane going down is the duck action. So it doesn't actually have that on the card, but you have to remember that. So we went through, we played that. The third one that we didn't actually get to play is that you had to then stack the dice up on top of each other for it to effectively like eliminate the villain. So that was really fun. So we played it 4-player. There's a campaign that you can play through it, and you can make it a bit harder as well. So that was just a really great game. Really great game to play as a group, because it was nice and quick. We got something out of it, and it was. If you're into the theme of Cuphead, then you should definitely look into this. It was a lot of fun.
It looked. Manny was pulling it out. I was like, "Oh, I'll play with you." And he was like, "Sorry, it's full, Joe." I was like, "Oh, damn, it looks so good."
Yeah, it was. And like I had played a little bit. I played a little bit of Cuphead. I'm no good at it, but yeah, and I think we were playing it with Manny, Harry, and Tom, and Harry was getting so frustrated because his dice just wouldn't show it. You've just got 20 seconds to like flip, and like I was doing like the traditional like scoop them up, roll the wrist over, and roll them, and I was like, no, that's chump action. Don't do that. Like just literally like pick them up and flick them and throw them in the air and get the dice rolling as much as you can. But yeah, it's cool because you can then kit your character out in whatever way you want. When you get more coins, you can go back through and I guess repeat scenarios to build up your coins because they're easy to do, and then take on a more difficult boss. So it is reasonably thematic. And then you have that stress of the 20 seconds, which does not feel like 20 seconds, mind you. It's like the opposite of doing some form of like exercise, like a plank, where 20 seconds seems to last forever. It's the opposite, where 20 seconds goes like that. It's just gone. So, yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else, Connor?
Not really. I would have loved to have been able to play either the Oath or the Root games with Cole Wherle. Like that would have been. I know there's 3 of us in here that would have jumped at that opportunity. So yeah, that would have been really good. I know we're sort of finished with stories. One thing that I loved was so. Different people have different gaming groups, and places like PlayCon are where those different gaming groups can sort of join up and combine and then meet each other. And you kind of have this like intermingling of gaming groups. So there was there's a group of guys who I normally game with, who I talk about on the podcast a lot. They have a couple of different game groups as well, and they've met. So there was this young person named Alex who came with their mother, and they met one of our good friends, Pete. And we often tell stories about Pete being a bit ridiculous. There's the infamous story that I told you guys for the first time about Pete spraying his mineral water all
Yes.
over Martin Wallace's design. So
Mhm.
that's always something that in the first PlayCon. But Alex was just in awe of Pete's like ludicrous behavior. Like he was, they were loving it. Like Pete was just doing his usual like shenanigans and being funny without knowing he was being funny. And Alex was just like, I can't believe this guy. I cannot believe like the behavior that he's doing. It was just great to see like different generations of people meeting and bonding over games. It was just a whole lot of fun and brought me huge amounts of joy seeing that happen, and the fact that we're able to share this hobby across so many different groups of people.
Mm. It was pretty amazing to see how people must have thought a lot of PlayCon to travel the distance that they did to come to our event. Like we had people from Tasmania, Western Australia, and I meant to try and talk to this particular lady, but I didn't get a chance to. But she came from Thailand, and she has been playing D&D with a group, of some of them Australians. For 11 years, they've never met.
Wow.
They met at PlayCon.
That's so nice. I didn't know that story.
That's been so good. If I don't know if you listen to if you listen to this episode, if you can reach out to us and let us know that was you, we'd love to get in touch with you. That'd be awesome. So yeah, that's a great story, Dana. I wasn't aware of that. That's fantastic.
There was a lady I saw walking around, and I'm almost 100% sure it was a group that had come over from WA, and she had a jacket on, and she had patches made
photo of that.
all the 3 years that PlayCon's run, and so obviously they're going to make more and more patches as we keep doing this.
So
wow,
amazing.
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I thought that was just brilliant. I mean, I was talking to you before we started about Narelle, who came from Tasmania, and they drove 1,644 kilometres, I think it was, she said. And then they've got the return trip back. And I thought, oh, that's so lovely to hear. And actually it was great seeing Narelle because for those of you who know Narelle, she's in a wheelchair, but I've never seen anybody speed down those aisles like Narelle did in her wheelchair. Oh, my God. She was just zooming everywhere. And I saw her over the weekend and I just said, listen, we've got to get you some speed limiting signs or something. You're going to kill someone.
So good.
If you get in a way, that's bad luck.
That's so good. Diff. Or we just buy one of those like Australian like bull bars.
Yeah.
For like water buffaloes.
We were sort of joking that she needs some kind of flags or balloons or something or whatever. Oh God, so people could see her coming. But it was so good. It was great. And they had their own T-shirts as well and everything. All those sorts of little things are really special. Or seeing a group of new guys come to the front desk and check in, and they're all wearing customized capes.
Yeah, I saw them. That was so cool.
I just love it. I just love that kind of thing. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, look, if you're listening and you came to PlayCon, thank you so much for coming. Hope you had a great time. Thank you for adding to the vibe and for being so friendly. Massive thank you to our volunteers. My God, we could not run the event without them, like Dana said, and we're so grateful for them as well. So, if you're listening and you haven't been to PlayCon, look forward to 2027. Come along. We'd love to have you there and help contribute to the vibe as well. Shall we move on to our sizzle?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This episode is brought to you by Leader Games, proud sponsors of PlayCon for 3 years running. Leader Games are the publishers behind modern favourites like Root, Ahoy, Fort, and A Vast and Mysterious Manor. Games known for memorable table moments, clever design, and rewarding repeat play. At Leader Games, they believe that games bring people together, creating fun, engaging experiences that welcome all kinds of players to the table. Whether you love asymmetric strategy, clever card play, or just discovering something different with your gaming group, there's a Leader Games title waiting for you. Check out Leader Games at leadergames.com.
So I am going to be... Oh,
yes.
Did you
go? Dana, you get the one and only very special sizzle for the episode. This is a game that's just being released on Kickstarter, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Take it away. I'm
So
very keen to hear.
I'm talking about Ringyo. So this is a release from Paverson Games. And I am a huge Paverson Games fan. They are famous for Distilled and Luthia, and I'm so grateful that we got the opportunity to play this game before it was released. Dave Beck, who owns Paverson Games, has been so generous to us, and even providing before PlayCon, he provided copies of Luthia for the PlayCon library. So he's extremely generous. So I'm very grateful. The first thing that drew me in to this game was the artwork. And it's actually by a guy that I hadn't heard of before. His name is Kwanchai Moria.
Kwanchai is a very famous artist in the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I had not heard of him, but he did Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
He's done a lot
like
of
that
games.
Pink.
Yeah.
That bright pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kabuto Sumo.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Pretty sure.
Shows I don't know anything. But if you have a look at the box cover, it's really stunning. It's beautiful, and it was designed by a guy called Charlie McCarran, who I had also not heard of.
You don't know Charlie?
No,
I don't either. I'm just pulling your leg.
no, but I was looking him up, and he did Skyrockets. I don't know if you know the game, like
Oh,
Kites.
yeah, I know Skyrockets.
Yeah.
But it says that he is currently the game design manager for Office Dog,
Oh, there you
who
go. Yeah.
was a sponsor at PlayCon.
There you go.
There you go. I had no idea, but yeah. Anyway, I was able to get Ringyo to the table a couple of times, and it's one of those games that just stuck with me. I don't know. It's got this beautiful historical theme. So Ringyo means forestry in Japanese. So the game is set during the Edo period, and during that period, it was a time of peace after Civil War, and the population grew very rapidly, and towns became cities, and of course, all of that came at a cost. And so Japan relied heavily on timber and wood just wasn't for buildings. It was for bridges, ships, charcoal, tools, whatever. And as the demand increased, the forests were being cleared faster than they could recover. And then hillsides became unstable and flooding became more common and rivers silted up and the farmland was being washed away. So the shogun at the time decided to introduce regulations to control logging and encourage landowners to replant trees. And I mean, we're talking about in the 1600s here. So it was almost like the first, maybe not the first, but an early instance of like government conservation. So in Ringyo, you're a daimyo. I think I've said that correctly. And you're responsible for managing your own province. And you're trying to prove to the shogun that you can grow a prosperous province while managing your forests responsibly. It's a medium heavy euro, and it's got one of my favorite things in it, which is simultaneous worker placement. I love it. So if you've ever found yourself looking at a board and thinking, how can I possibly get the most out of this turn, then you're probably going to enjoy a game like Ringyo. And I have to admit, initially I was a little bit intimidated, but I was surprised at actually how intuitive it was, and it didn't take long for it to click. And everything just made sense when I played it. You're planting trees, growing trees, cutting trees, studying trees, and building structures with trees. And everything just seems logical to me. So the game takes place mainly on your province board, which has different coloured adjoining sectors for the type of tree that grows there. So there are pine, oak, beech, and cypress trees. And alongside that, you've got a forestry track. Well, that's where you'll be studying trees. And then you've also got a structure board where you'll be building farms and fortresses. And you start with 2 yellow samurai workers. And there are 4 different types of workers. So you've got villagers, and they're the weakest type of worker, all the way through to green samurais, who are much more powerful and can do any action. And the game takes place over 5 rounds. And you have the first phase is the council phase, and you've got 6 diplomats cards, and they're numbered 1 to 6. Everybody has the same 6 cards, and you secretly choose a card, and then whoever has the highest number goes first in turn order. And so you've got this really interesting decision already at the first turn. Well, do I use my 6 straight away, or do I go middle of the road first of all? Because you can only ever use your cards once, and you'll only play 5 of those cards in the game. So you'll have 1 left over. And so every round you find yourself sort of asking what your opponents are doing. And is this going to be a critical decision for me? Because if you're first in turn order, everybody then, from highest to lowest, then gets to pick a shogun's gift. And the gifts range from additional workers. It could be rice, and rice in this game is the currency in the game. You could get additional sectors to add to your province, which will increase the space and also increase the trees. And so sometimes those decisions can be critical to get that first pick of the shogun's gifts. So once you've done that, this is where the simultaneous part happens. And what you're going to do is, with whatever workers that you have gained in the first phase, you are then going to complete your own little puzzle on your board. And what you do is you have your worker, and you place your worker, and it must be placed where there are 3 interconnecting sectors. And you place it on the area in between those. And depending on what kind of worker it is, you can activate 1, 2, or 3 sectors. So you'll get more actions. So the better workers, which are the green samurais, you'll be able to activate all 3 of those sectors. Whereas if you have a villager, which is the weakest worker, you'll only be able to activate 1. And so you're going to go through, everybody's going to activate their provinces. And so the actions, the types of actions that you'll be doing, you'll be harvesting rice, you may grow a tree, you may cut down a tree and use it for timber. You can then go over to the forestry track and you can study a tree, or you could go over to your structure board and build a structure. And so you're going to be doing that all completely simultaneously. And it it actually reminds me of a game by Vladimir Suchi called Woodcraft. And it's very much like, it's not just because it's about wood, but you find yourself constantly splitting logs into smaller pieces and joining them back together and trying to create the exact combination of timber for your next action. Height is everything in this game. So the height of your trees are everything, and also the lengths of timber as well are also really important. Thematically, I don't know, it's really interesting when you have this beautiful board, or you have your province full of these beautiful trees. And I love this decision of, do I leave this tree for one more round, or do I cut it down now and try and risk it to see if I can get this particular benefit later on? And actually, I found myself, after growing this tree over 5 rounds, not wanting to even cut it down, sort of wanting it to grow. And I just really enjoyed that. So with the structure board, this is where you sort of keep your harvested timber and you can track your rice. But when you're building structures, you've got access to the bottom row of your structure board. But then for each structure you build, you then unlock the structures that are adjacent to that. And generally you want to focus on either a row or a column, because if you complete a column or a row, you'll get benefits for doing that. But it's also will give you very big points if you can start completing these rows and columns as well. So I loved that. And the other thing that I really enjoyed is there's a weather phase. So once you've finished all your simultaneous worker placement, there's a weather phase. So each round you'll draw a card, and it might be the year of the oak or the year of the pine. And it will give you a probability, and the probability will say that, okay, oak has a 40% chance of rain in that area. Pine has 30% chance, beech has 20%, and cypress has 10%. And I think it's brilliant because if you end up with rain in a particular area, it will actually cause a flood, and a flood will cascade down into areas where your trees and buildings are, and it will actually wash them away.
Oh.
So you have to make sure that you're very prepared for where you place your buildings and trees. And the higher up in your province, because you've got this cascading effect of floods, the higher up, the more expensive it is to build fortresses and farms in those areas. So it's quite interesting. You actually have to do this weather phase 3 times during the round. And then the next year it might change to a different type of tree. But of course you can just never predict what's going to happen. You can plan as well as you can, but sometimes it will just be a disaster and you'll lose everything that you were working for. After that, then you have the Shogun's demands. And this is where turn order is really important as well. So at the start, I mentioned that you have your diplomat cards that are numbered 1 through 6, and that will determine your turn order. Well, this is where now you go in turn order and you get to place a token on an endgame scoring goal. So it might be you have to pay 7 rice and it'll give you 10 points. But being first in turn order, you get first preference for where you put your token. And the earlier you place your token, the more points there are. But also it's limited because, say, in a 3-player game, there may only be 2 spaces available for that. So it's actually really important. And the points are quite high in these Shogun's demands. I really enjoyed it that those demands are available to you at the start of the round so you can see what they are, but also as you go throughout the game, and there should be, I think there are 8 or 10 that are revealed throughout the game. I can't remember the exact number. You can actually bid on demands that were at the start of the game. And I just thought it was really clever. It had a nice amount of variability, a nice amount of that unknown factor. It had this great little planning phase, which I loved. I love playing a game where I can hear people table talk to themselves about what they're going to do. I love that in a game. And I love the interaction at the start as well with the diplomat cards. But I don't know, it's one of those games that I just felt, and I've said this before in previous podcasts, that I found myself wanting to play it again to see if I could do better. And if I play a game and it makes me want to just play it again straight away, or I'm thinking about it afterwards, to me that's the best compliment that I can give a game, if I'm thinking about it afterwards. And that was Ringyo to me. It is a lighter game, I feel, than Luthia. And it's more like Distilled at that level. I think it's very approachable, even though it may look intimidating. It's not. There is a solo mode, which I didn't get to try because it wasn't available in the copy that I had. And there is an expansion as well that is also part of it, which I did not get to try either. I really liked the way that they're doing the Kickstarter as well, that they're planting a tree for each copy sold, and that includes copies after the Kickstarter as well. So for years to come, when the game is sold, they are going to be planting a tree. It's with a particular organisation.
Yeah, and trees for the future.
Yeah, trees for the future. And I really, really like it.
Nice. It's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Kind of put your money where your mouth is.
Like, honestly, Dave is a very thoughtful guy. And when I say thoughtful, I'm not thoughtful as in kind. I'm talking about the planning for his games and the Kickstarter and the theme and everything. It's very well researched. They've got they did it with Luthia where they had a rehearsal. So they actually walk you through several turns of the game. So for people maybe who are not confident with reading the rule book, they walk you through everything. So they've got the same thing in this one. And I just thought it was a great game. And I love the theme. I definitely think it deserves a look.
Yeah, so it is still on Kickstarter at the moment, at least at the time of recording. Hopefully by the time you hear this, there might be a few days left on the campaign, but you obviously have late pledges available. It's probably got one of the best add-ons I've ever seen in a campaign. For just $5, you can get Pavison Games branded gardening gloves.
Yes, I know.
So good.
He always just comes up with like really interesting things. And a fan.
Yes.
There's a fan. You can get like a hand fan. Joe, you would love that hand fan.
Oh, mate, I love a fan. The other thing, I was looking through the Kickstarter in the Shogun edition, like Deluxe Plus edition, you get like 4 chopstick sets in the same color as the player colors, it looks like. So that's such a nice touch. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I guess that's what I mean by thoughtful. I don't know. He just puts a lot of thought into it. So I've just been so impressed with this game, and I played it at 2 and 3. I think it's better in those higher player counts because there's more competition for those demands, and that initial phase where you're playing your diplomat cards is a little bit more interesting with the high player counts. So I would recommend it at 3 and 4 for this particular game. But if you like combos and you like a satisfying little optimization puzzle, this could be the game for you. It's really great. So yeah, that's Ringyo.
Lovely.
Very cool.
All right. So that was our one and only very special sizzle. Thank you, Dana. Normally we would move on to news and announcements, but we're going to leave that to the end of the pod. We've got a very special announcement.
Ooh.
We're going to keep it to the end.
Ooh.
Instead, we might move on to our 2 questions of the pod.
Ready for dice tracking tactics and epic battles? Gunson, the battle for Toshi Rambo from Office Dog Games is here. Command one of 7 asymmetric clans, lead your samurai recruits, and battle for control in a fast-paced mix of area control and tableau building. It's everything you love about epic strategy games streamlined to play in just 40 minutes. Claim your path to victory in Gunson, the battle for Toshi Rambo.
All right, because we had to bank an episode because of PlayCon, we've got 2 simultaneous questions of the pod to go through. So we might go through the first one first, which is, which game would you consider a modern classic? What did our community say?
Well, starting with Facebook, we had Mika Georgiades say, I feel like a clean and streamlined rules give the classic feel. Through the Desert is the first one that comes to mind. Being based on Go helps the classic feel, and then add a couple of modern scoring mechanisms, and there you go, modern classic. Narelle Williams says, Castles of Burgundy and Concordia. Brock Williams says, Guy Project. Only recently been bitten by the bug, but it's got its fangs in good. Modern because it's an adaptation of a prior release, and a classic because Terra Mystica is a true classic. The only thing I miss in Gaia Project that I tend to really enjoy is a sense of discovery that comes from exploring the unknown regions. And Dobro Games says, would Ticket to Ride be too obvious? I guess the next question would be, which version? Probably the original. Oh, and Agricola. Then from Discord, our good buddy Rays says, opinions are like buttholes, right? None more than this. What makes something a classic? Does it have to be liked by everyone? I don't think so. It needs to stand the test of time.
Oh, God.
And that nothing comes after that you would say, X does this better. So I'd rather play that. For me, it cancels out something like Gloomhaven, which I adore, but I think the general consensus is that despite changing the genre, there are games that do what Gloomhaven does better than it ever did. In essence, a modern classic is definitively an oxymoron. So all of these are early crows, but from my perspective, root. The asymmetry, the complexity, the interaction, and the anthropomorphic antagonists, it's so tight, uniquely balanced, and just an enormously fun to play whenever it hits the table. There's a reason so many people love this game. Nemesis, probably a little bit more controversial, as I know people don't have the love, but for me, as we played through every iteration over literally dozens of plays, we get a great story out of it that we talk about for weeks every single time. And then Bristol 1350, is there a unique party game that generates this much fun from so little? We still laugh about Greenie pushing Dan out of the cart to this day, nearly 4 years later. So many laughs. Run JMB says, I would say games like Orleans and Viticulture 2nd Edition. I have both, would easily play either at any time. They're just crackers and are always enjoyable. And then Spinny says, so to actually answer the question of the pod, I would say the ones that I jump to straight away, if modern is counting as 2015 onwards, Root, Spirit Island, Blood on the Clock Tower, Azul, Barrage, Wingspan. I haven't played it yet, but SETI is skyrocketing in popularity, similar to what Ark Nova did.
For good reason. It's a bloody good game.
SETI is amazing, and I would literally play it any time, even though I stink at it.
Hell yeah. All right. And then question 2 was, what giant version of a game would you like to play? I wasn't on the episode where that question was on. So what would my answer be? I think a giant version of SETI would be freaking cool.
Imagine that. The big rotating middle.
Yeah, the big rotating sun and all the satellites. That would be so cool.
Around. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, why does it have to be party games that get giant versions? Can't we get like giant like Lacerdas? That'd be awesome. I'd love to play a giant Kanban. Hell yeah.
Or giant, a giant the gallerist, and it's actually full-size pieces of art.
It's so good. Yeah.
You'd have to say magical athlete. Come on.
Oh, actually, Asmodee had a giant magical athlete. That was like a giant, as in giant compared to the regular board game.
I mean, like really giant.
Like really giant. That would be like having the huge baby.
Yeah, that I have to be, I would have to be huge baby.
I love
Jules,
huge baby.
you can't have it. I'm doing it.
That's right. But Dana, what did our community have to say?
Aaron Robertson said Carcassonne using real people as meeples. I would like to do that. When I would like to definitely do something, whether it be for PlayCon or some other time, I don't know, but where it's life size. We have to do it. It has to be life size.
Can I make I'm going to reveal something. I've never played Carcassonne.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's pretty vicious, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's a
can
pretty
be,
Yes,
it's
it
not
can be.
vicious.
It is. You play it with two nicer people. It is one of the most vicious games you can play. And you don't want to play it against people who know what they're doing.
No.
Because it's like, there's this
There's
exact tile.
There's a lot of blocking when you build a city.
People that have played it a lot, they can know what tiles are still in the bag.
Yes.
And that's a whole
crazy.
other level I don't ever want to get to. It was actually one of the criticisms of the game that Kim had and led to some of the design choices in Land versus Sea that all the tiles are double-sided and all have weird patterns, so you can't memorize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, come fight me at the giant-sized Carcassonne.
Shane Murray says the estates, you can add physical exertion to the heartbreak. I've never played the estates.
Oh, it's so good.
Stephen John says hot streak, but with cosplayers as characters. That would be great.
It's an interesting idea.
Yep. Root. Basically furries LARPing in the woods.
So I put this one in here because I knew Joe would get a kick out of this answer to the question.
Oh my God.
Yeah. People on the same team would communicate via walkie-talkie, and you would go to the bench once eliminated. Some random mouse person would hand you some tea, a fox, a shiny sword, etc.
My brain just went to some psycho in a raccoon suit just running around slitting people's throats.
Yeah. Can I have your tea? Can I have a tea? Are you using those boots? Yeah.
I'm your friend, and then just crossbows people in the back and runs away.
LARPing, like getting the chance to LARP a game of Root would be like a bucket list item.
Yeah.
Like if someone, like for my 50th birthday, if someone organized that, I would like, that would be the best.
Oh, could you imagine doing like the revolt with the woodlands?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, for freedom! It'd be like Braveheart, like everyone running out.
That's so good. Great answer. Love that.
Mm.
Jules?
We had a couple of board gamers said, take the full convention center next year and do a real-time giant clank with 2,000 players. You guys get a hold of a dragon. Can get a hold of a dragon, right?
Yeah. No problem.
If we can get a flamingo, we can get a dragon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This next one from Shoitan said, John Company, let's get real weird with it. Colonizing India, selling opium, and choosing spouses, the whole shebang.
There you go, Joe. That's your heavy game as a giant size.
My boy Shoitan.
And then Big Nose said, giant size, Fate of the Fellowship, so that I can finally see the individual troop tokens and count them. There are some small pieces in that game for sure.
They're the smallest meeples I've ever seen.
Looking to round out your Garfield collection? Head over to garfield.com, where you can find titles from across the Garfield range and finally fill those gaps on your shelf. You'll also find web store exclusives like Assyria 2nd Edition and Secret Societies, available directly from Garfield Games. And if it's your first order, use the code GARPHILL, that's GARPHILL, at checkout for 15% off. So whether you're hunting for a missing favourite or picking up something new, visit garfield.com, that's GARPHILL.com, and complete your collection today. Okay, and so for our new question of the pod, we've talked a little bit about Kickstarter, some really cool Kickstarter add-ons. So we thought, why not have the next question of the pod be, what would your dream Kickstarter add-on be? It could be board games, TTRPGs. Any answers from the Peanut Gallery?
I had one thought. It's probably more correct to say it's a pledge level than an add-on. I don't know if campaigns have done this in the past, maybe not directly for board games, but I feel like some people that have done Kickstarters for conventions have, and I don't see why designers of board games couldn't do this, but a pledge level to get your copy of the game, but also travel out and play the game with the designer, like have a full gaming experience of that game with the designer as like a pledge level you could pledge for. That would be cool.
That would be really interesting. Like flying out to go see Cole Wherle.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Having said that, I did that with Dice Tower West. That was the Kickstarter add-on, was to go and have lunch with him.
Yeah. I know they've done it for Kickstarters, but not for like a game.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about something like if a game like City went to Kickstarter or Arcs, and it's you get to actually go up into space, like with SpaceX.
Oh my! We have taken the word dream and run.
I mean,
with
it's dream, right? Like imagine that. It's like you get to do a trip to space with the designer and whoever else. I mean, it would be, you'd have to be Katy Perry rich to be able to do it. But like
there is actually one add-on I think that has been done in the past that I would love to have pledged at the time, but it was way too expensive for my budget. It was when Veiled Fate was on Kickstarter, and they had a pledge add-on for a fully wooden board that was like hand painted, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Have you got one, Jules? Joe?
No.
Have you got it, Joe?
No. I wish.
Oh.
I wish.
Yeah.
I also looked at it and was like, man, this is so cool. But
Yeah.
there's
I know.
no way.
I know they had a lot of problems delivering it because they had to make like custom wooden boxes, and the board was so solid and heavy it would break out of the box.
Yeah.
So they probably never want to touch that again. But
Probably.
it was such a cool item, and I wish I could have got one. But yeah,
they actually did do it, so it's not so much a dream one, but the pledge level for Chip Theory games where was it like the champion or something like that, where you would pledge that and you would just get every single Chip Theory game
from then on.
game from that point on, and then they stopped doing it because like they became quite popular. And I'm trying to think, if there was someone, again, I know we keep talking about Cole, I think because he's on the brain because of PlayCon, but it's like if there was a Leader Games one or a Berry Giant one or all of Andrew Bosley's games because of his artwork and things like that, then I would definitely do something along those lines if that was an option more frequently. I think it's because it's like you pay the investment this up front and then you just reap the benefits afterwards. And then you just get a surprise. It rocks up on your doorstep and you're like, hey, didn't even know the game was coming out.
I'd like the idea of the personal experience, like what Jules was talking about. Even just like an online masterclass or something. That would be great, like an online masterclass. That would be really cool.
There aren't any companies that have done this. They've taken one step towards it. But I think a dream for me would be to see an add-on where you get professionally painted miniatures, the game you can just buy straight up instead of just the
wash.
Contrast wash.
Yeah.
Like that's nice, but for me that is a nothing because I actually paint my miniatures. But being able to see an add-on is like, I know that I'm going to throw names out there you guys probably don't know, but like Andy Wardle, like he's multi Golden Demon Slayer Sword winner, like the best of the best, like a hand painted set of miniatures for a game as an add-on. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'm going to bring us down to earth and just kind of talk about something that I think is more achievable.
A space trip with the designers? No, Jim.
But maybe not. Maybe I don't know whether this is achievable or not. But it'd be really cool to have like a custom Lego set to do with the game. Like if you could get like a custom Lego set of like a giant version of the different meeples and root, for example, I would love that. I would display that in my house.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Or like Ringyo, if you had like something that showed like a Japanese bonsai or something that was relevant to the game or to the art of the game. I think that's a really cool add-on that I think is very personal.
I think that would be great.
You reminded me of an idea. I'm sure there are games that have done it, but the BGG art poster series. I'd like to see more art prints being available for games because there is some stunning artwork in games out there.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know, over the past couple of years, I've actually gotten really into buying art prints. I've got, like around my desk at work, I've got prints I bought from the company that does Cosmic Frog. I've got a print from Adrian Smith, who did the artwork for Blood Rage as well. Like, I've got a print that I bought at Gen Con for Kingdom Death of one of my favorite bosses, the Flower Knight. But there's really, really cool artwork in games, and I'd love to see more just posters being able to be purchased through Kickstarter.
I would like just merch in general.
Yep.
Even like the Root merch would do so well.
Yeah.
They do have it on their website, but it's very limited.
What about a Root hoodie?
Dana.
Oh, you're tearing Joe apart there.
Don't you know I hate hoodies?
Really?
But you love Root. So what would you do?
I love Root. I would still not wear that.
I just spent the whole weekend wearing an hoodie. Are you saying
Dana.
that's no surprise?
I just hate hoodies. I just hate them so much.
Oh, okay.
They look
Maybe-
so bad.
Dana,
Anyway.
what you do next year is we set up a corner with bean bags, and it's all like with small coffee tables. You dress up an hoodie and teach creature comforts.
Oh
in
my
this
God, that's so
comfy
cute.
area,
I wouldn't-
and everyone can wear their hoodies.
That's
I would
actually
allow
a
that.
really... Jules, that is such a good idea.
That's
and
a
I'm
great
going to do
idea.
it. Now that you've said it, I'm going to do it. I don't care what you say. I'm
We'll see
doing
if she
it.
remembers in 12 months'
In a
time.
PlayCon
will.
hoodie?
I would do it. No problem at all. Hey, I dressed up
I love
like a
that.
flamingo.
That's
Yeah,
such
somehow
a-
that's more
Love that.
respectful.
Anyway, it's not up to us. It's up to the community. So we would love to hear your answer to the new question of the pod. What would your dream Kickstarter add-on be? All right. Let's keep going. We have a new Patreon. Talita Nankovas, thank you so much for your support.
I would like to mention that I just spent the weekend with Talita.
So you,
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just spent the weekend with her in Toowoomba, and I did say this several times over the weekend because it was written on the fridge. But Talita, you're amazing. Just want to say that. So she volunteered as well at PlayCon. She and her mum.
Thank you
awesome.
so
volunteered at
much,
PlayCon.
Talita.
So it was very kind of them.
We appreciate the support. If you want a shout out on the pod and have Dana tell you you're amazing
Amazing.
and be a Patreon of ours, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/boardgamebarbecue if you want to support us. Sign up to donate and you can get access to exclusive podcasts that we will record just for our Patreons. There are plenty of ways to support the podcast without donating. Actually, a couple of the best things you can do is tell your mates about us. Word of mouth helps grow our audience, but also to rate us on the various podcasting platforms, Spotify, the Apple Podcasts app, etc., etc. Wherever you listen to the podcast, if you rate us there, that helps raise the podcast profile and helps new people to find us. You can also get involved in our community by joining Facebook, following us on X, Instagram, or YouTube. And of course, there's our Discord community, which is the hub of our community and is very active. There's always games, conversations going on. We'd love to see you join us there. All of the links we've talked about are in the show notes below as well. All right. It's time for our very special announcement. So excited. So, it's been a challenging few months for the team. There's now 4 of us on the podcast. Originally on the podcast, there was 9. And trying to run a podcast with just the 4 of us and keep things fresh has been challenging. We've tried our best. We were, I think, trying to get through PlayCon. And, we've had Adrian and Lauren. Adrian was on the podcast since the beginning, and Lauren had joined more recently. Both of them have left the podcast recently as well. So it's just the 4 of us, me, Dana, Jules, and Connor. But we kind of came together and decided, I think it's time to grow the podcast again. And so we are actually going to put out a casting call to see if anyone would love to join us on the podcast and become part of the podcast crew. It's a very simple application process. All you have to do is there is a link to a Google form, which we will place in our Discord community on Facebook. We'll put a post on Instagram about it, but we'll also have it on our website as well. If you just go to boardgamebarbecue.com, that's boardgamebbq.com, you'll find a link to the submission document as well. Very simple. All you have to do is answer some questions. One of the questions is tell us your top 10 games, and then we just ask that you give us a voice recording of you talking about one of your favorite games, no more than 3 minutes. Upload that into the Google form, and we'll be in touch. Any thoughts, guys? Anything else you wanted to add about the casting call?
I'm excited. So
Yeah.
I think,
Me too.
and Jules, you might be the same. Some of the most fun and exciting times I've had with this podcast has been when you guys have jumped on board, and the excitement and the new ideas and the fresh takes on games and it allows us to revisit games because we get to hear what other people think of them too. I would just like to say that if you've ever sat and listened to any board game podcast and be like, I want to join in on a conversation, definitely apply, because you never know like how naturally it might come to you. It is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I would not still be here if I wasn't enjoying it just as much as I ever did. So I'm really excited to see how applicants. I'm excited to see who applies, and I'm excited to see who in the end ends up joining, because it's going to bring lots of excitement and growth to the podcast, which I'm really jazzed about.
I'm really sick of listening to you, Connor.
Yeah, no.
Whoa.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time Dana actually said something nice about me that wasn't secondhand, right? She's always telling me that people say nice things about me, but she never says anything nice about me.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like Connor said, it's really exciting when someone new has come to the podcast in the past, fresh perspectives, different games that they're into. You know, I don't think me, Connor, or Joe would ever have talked about Flock Mode if Dana wasn't here.
Yeah.
100%.
Nor would we have dressed up in a flamingo suit.
Probably not.
100%.
But
definitely not getting an hoodie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very exciting, and we have an amazing community out there, and there's lots of talented people, and we're here because we love what we do, and we get a lot of joy out of forming this, how this community has formed and continues to grow. And we're excited to have people help us continue that and really unite people that have a love for the board game hobby and tabletop games in general. I think it's pretty exciting that we have this community in Australia and hope to see it grow.
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I also want to highlight that experience is not necessary. When I joined the podcast, I had no idea about podcasting, editing, recording, nothing. So there's no experience that's required, just that you have a voice, that you're passionate about board games, and that you would love to help join the conversation as well. All right. Well, we're very excited to see who applies. And yeah, I guess there'll be some changes happening to the podcast, which is really exciting. That's it. That's the episode. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It was lovely to see you again post-PlayCon.
Dana, wouldn't you feel really bad if I used this opportunity to say that I'm leaving? Like, in the last thing you said to me, I was like, I'm sick of hearing your voice.
Oh my God.
That would be so bad.
It's not. Don't worry. I'm not doing that. Please.
I was on Mitch's episode when he left, and I was floored when he did that. He just left it to the last minute. It was terrible.
Yowza.
By the way, speaking of Flock Mode, just a quick...
All right, that was great. We got to finish the episode now. See you, everyone. Keep playing games. Bye.
Jules' partner, wife, was playing Flock Mode, and I whispered in her ear, and I said, I'm pretty sure Jules and Joe said that they would rather have their eyes stabbed out rather than play this.
It's true.
I said, so don't bring it home.
Good on you.
All
right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you for listening. Play some board games, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Beauty.
Dana, do you have anything unhinged you want to say before I finish recording?
No.